Alright, folks. So, how reliable is an Indian Scout? Let's find out. This is my Indian Scout. I've had this since it was new, and it's got about 5,500 miles on it right now. It's due for its second oil change. Well, not really, considering the oil changes are 10,000 miles apart, but the factory recommended oil change interval is 10,000 miles, unless you ride hard or you ride a lot in sub-freezing temps, both of which I do. So, 5,500 it is. Just because I already did the 500 mile service once you get it new. So, we are talking about reliability today. And what defines reliability? Well, I'm just going to go ahead and state a baseline here and say, as long as you follow what the manual recommends, you should be good. Meaning, the people who made the bike probably know better than you, and they probably know how the bike should be cared for. And I won't say Japanese bikes don't have it beat with the first oil change and mile inspection, because I think most of theirs are 600-700 miles, while the Indian Scout's 500. But big whoop, 100 miles. That's a trip to my dealership. So I'd be at 500, and I'd get to the interval change as soon as I get there. Anyway, what is reliable about this bike? Well, as you can see, I'm not very good at keeping this bike clean. I've never actually washed this. The last time this thing got a wash that wasn't in the storm or just any kind of rain was actually when it came off the dealer lot. You know, they like to detail it, make it all pretty, ready to go as soon as you buy it. Good on them. Indian Motorcycle of Southeastern Virginia, good dealership. But I would say that I do suffer from a little bit of laziness because this comes with a warranty. This bike has an engine warranty, as far as I know. I'll put the miles of the warranty right here because I can't exactly remember. However, it's been the only thing I've ever purchased new from a dealership. All the cars I've had, all the bikes, I've always bought off Craigslist. I've kind of just been enjoying the anxiety-free warranty that I can get from this. And I'm going to make a bad admission of guilt right now. I've never checked the oil on this thing. I have never pulled that dipstick out because, A, it was kind of too tight when I tried one time, but also, B, I just didn't feel like I needed to. Because from the factory, there have been very rare instances of oil seeping from the heads of this motor. You'll see just a ever so slight little slick just coming down, maybe just a drop or two. And that's it. Those are immediately covered under warranty. I think they even replaced the heads, but I could be wrong about that. There's also been reports of the coolant hose just, slipping off. Not that I've seen any kind of trouble like that. You can see that it is a little bit separated here, but I think that's just the cut of the hose. You can see it's actually still just making contact. Not too worried about it. I have not inspected anything about this bike myself. I've just been enjoying riding it, you guys. So in 5,000 miles, have I had to tighten the belt? Seems like a pretty good tension. Of course, I know nothing about belts because I've always owned shaft-driven motorcycles, but I haven't had any problems. Haven't felt any jerkiness whenever I'm accelerating or anything like that. My shocks, they haven't blown out. A lot of this stuff is pretty elementary for 5,000 miles, you guys. You can take a look at where I've had the suspension all the way up, bottomed out on. Not a whole lot of oil seeping from there. The seals are pretty good. Good quality seals, although I have heard that these are not covered under warranty, so clean these if you can. Brakes have been fine. Tires still have plenty of tread. A lot of people give these Kendas some crap, but I mean, after 5,500 miles, tread looking like that, I'm not unimpressed. The turn signals, I have heard that this specific year, 2017, was the last year where they had these turn signal plastic covers where eventually the sun liked to fog them out, but I'm not having too bad an issue. Plastic seems fine. I can usually see the lights, no problem. And I guess one of the biggest things you'll notice is I have an aftermarket exhaust. Check up here in the card for a sound comparison. It's the RPW Brave, and haven't had any issues whatsoever ever since it's been properly installed. You can actually go back and check another video, again, right up here, to see how I couldn't get it installed on the front cylinder correctly and it had a leak. But that was resolved by Indian for very cheap. Good on them. But now comes the moment of truth. One of the downsides of this exhaust system. Dear God. Now you know why I don't check it very often. That is hard to access without touching the header pipe. Oh God, that's hard. Let's try a glove, shall we? Oh God. Maybe 2 gloves. 2 glove job, huh? Oh God. It's so hard. Maybe that means I just need to check it more often. Oh, there we go. Now, in order to check this, what needs to be done, according to the manual, you need to start your bike, let it run for 30 seconds, and then check it on level ground. So let's do that, shall we? And start the timer. Alright, get our safety glove back on. You can't even see it. I mean, come on. Alright. Reaching down. Ooh, that's hot. In more ways than one. We are out. Pull that thing out. Got a little bit of bubbles going to it. Ugh. Give me your fluids. Full add. That's our measurement. Alright. Put it back on in. Tighten all the way. Now the reason you have to do this is because the Indian Scout uses what's called a semi-dry sump, meaning the transmission oil is shared with the crankcase, but they are somewhat separated inside. Okay, what are we at? It's kind of dry, isn't it? Might have done it wrong. Tighten to check level. No, I can't remember. Are we supposed to do this when it's on its stand or when it's sitting straight up? I don't know. Well, what motorcycle doesn't need oil after a little while? I guess. Shame on me for not checking, really. But I haven't had any issues with this thing, man. I have no issues when I'm just running around town. It starts up all the time, despite there being a factory-known issue with the starter. The old starter model, anyway, where you would seep oil into the starter and it would eventually stop working. Haven't had that issue. The only issues I've had are battery-related because, well, stock batteries are terrible. We all know this. Back to it, shall we? You know, I'm just now realizing there's a very good chance I did not wait long enough for the oil to seep all the way down to be properly measured. But as far as reliability goes, I'm at 5,500 miles, hardly any distance. But as I've said, I've never had any issues that wasn't outside of normal required maintenance. Whereas there are some brands, Ural, looking your way, where you could just ride off the parking lot and then just lose a muffler. Hasn't happened to me. Haven't heard anyone else report the same. I'm being brutally honest here if you guys couldn't tell. I may be biased because I love this brand of motorcycles, but I wouldn't direct anyone to spend this kind of money without actually having experienced it myself enough to recommend it because I like it. If you really want a good longevity sort of report, I would direct you guys over to Chris at the Open Rotor channel. Now Chris has recently taken a trip across Europe, which was about 3,000 miles in distance. And if you don't know, it's not even 3,000 miles to get from here in Virginia all the way to California. That's across the country, y'all. I'm acting awfully brave for a guy who just found out he's low a quart of oil. Nah, I've got faith. Faith is not what you should have in a brand, though. Do not follow my example. But I will say, about Chris, 3,000 miles on an Indian Scout, one single trip. Not a single issue, not a single breakdown, just wear and tear on the engine and tires, oil change after he's done and he's good. And he's got a Scout to, I want to say he said 13,500 miles approximately right now. Not bad. Most middleweight motorcycles typically rarely see over 20,000 miles. Now, if we're talking about the brand as a whole, we could talk about the Thunderstroke bikes. Now, those are even more mechanically simplistic. Gear-driven cam and block, 2 valves, push rods, oil-cooled. Simple as you can get. I know people who've put over 50,000 miles on those bikes. You get a Roadmaster, you can take that thing everywhere, forever. That was a nasty little turd right there. I guess that used to be a banana. I haven't owned a Thunderstroke bike, but I imagine, as is the case with everything, follow the manual, change the oil, pay attention to what you need to pay attention to, and you'll be golden. Except with maybe other brands. So do I recommend Indian motorcycles on terms of reliability? Yes, I absolutely do. Take this from a guy who only, and I really mean only, liked Japanese bikes for the longest time. Well, now that I'm not riding an American bike that's designed to be fixed with a hammer and actually made with real true tight tolerances and all, not to say that other brands don't, like the Harley V-Rod, I'm pretty happy with it, you guys. I totally recommend the Indian Scout in terms of reliability. Hey, GeoTracker. Nice. Not as much of a reliable brand. I am very attracted to things that aren't reliable. I picked on Ural earlier with that muffler comment. Dude, I can't tell you guys how much I actually want to gear up. That day where I got my 3-wheel license, right up here, that day was all because I really want to test ride Urals. So take that as a vote of confidence. From a guy who likes things that are not reliable and knows what to look out for, this thing is... I don't want to say maintenance free, but I sure have been treating it that way, huh? And I haven't had any negative repercussions. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope this guy's helped you make a decision. And if it did help, don't forget to follow me. I make videos here every Friday. And I also stream on Twitch Tuesdays and Fridays of right now. Not that that's relevant here, but you guys know what to do. Leave a like if it helped. Comment what your thoughts are. Either way, I'm glad you guys clicked on my video. And I hope you guys have a great day. Peace out. RIP engine.